You will panic when you are hungry. Eclipse glows when hungry. This little angel living, often call them coastal angels. Scientific name, magic sea butterfly, all in all. The main thing is a dead wind, however, for this hungry little angel. He doesn't care what's dead or not. Because if you don't get soaked, you'll starve to death soon. While the little angel was searching for food, and a winged snail came up with the flash of its arm. His name is Isla, but you can also call it a sea butterfly. He came here for the same purpose as the angel of the sea. It's all about food, and what happens is neither of them has power. However, after a long period of evolution, this allows them to locate prey through subtle changes in seawater while hunting. Starvation turned the angel of the sea into the devil of the sea. When the sea butterfly approaches him, at this moment, the angels also began to enter their own mealtime. The transparent shell that cannot be used in the end will be thrown away by the little. It's all in the belly, although now the little angel's belly no longer shines. But looking at the new little cutie in front of you, the little angel said that he will not lose weight today. Trees that grow in the sea, fish walking on the road, although it sounds rude. But this is the most serious place on earth. Mangrove swamp, the boundary between land and sea, so this unscrupulous swamp naturally attracted a school of unscrupulous little fish. Living a dirty little life, these are less than 1.6 meters tall. Little fish with 1.6 skills, it's called tuna. As the name suggests, not only love to eat soil, also super talks about vomiting. Algae in the mud is their food, it's not big. But this fish grew up with one big dream, to get out of the water. Down-to-earth life, as outrageous as it sounds, fortunately, he has a different respiratory system. Except for breathing with a plug, he can also extract oxygen from the air through respiration of the skin and the mucous membranes of the mouth. As long as the body is kept moist at all times, there will be no accidents. Feet are not a problem, because he can use his murder weapon as a bipedal, achieve the effect of walking on the ground. However, in addition to walking on the ground, now they have developed a new system. Unlike in the water, the transportation system on land is too cumbersome. Use the impact of your tail swinging back and forth. Take a big jump. Has been waiting here for a long time. Come to a love sticker, the couple entered their hearts one step at a time. The ocean farted, smoked the fish that lived nearby, but here's the magic. The carcasses of these animals do not decompose for decades after death. Packed up around it gradually becomes a deep seafood fish mountain. To find out, researchers dived 6 kilometers into the deep sea in the Gulf of Mexico. After coming here, the researchers found that hidden here is a place similar to the sea. Many of the fish that come here to feed will be strangely drowned in this sea area. At first, scientists thought it was a masterpiece of nature. However, after research, it was found that it turns out that it is the result of human overfishing. Due to the impact of overfishing, a massive decrease in fish in marine diving areas, people are starting to target deep sea fish. However, during the fishing process, this has devastated a network of corals that have been in the deep ocean for thousands of years. Massive accumulation of coral reefs on the seafloor. As time goes by, the organisms that cling to coral reefs begin to die and decay. This generates a large amount of methane gas. During the release of methane gas, it brings out some very salty brine. The brine, which is denser than seawater, will naturally sink to the bottom of the sea. Over time, a highly concentrated brine pool with a depth of up to 15 meters is formed. However, the incredible thing is, in such an environment, around the salt pond, a large number of giant odors, with a lifespan of up to 100 years were gathered, and some shrimp can also adapt to such an environment. And predators often go astray because they don't know the area. Once in the salt pond, 9 out of 10 fish will get a resistance from high concentrations of salt water. As the bodies piled up, they attract more and more hunters. A disaster-prone door that does not know whether to live or die is repeatedly being opened in the delay. However, what he did not know was that in a while he will go into toxic shock from the high salt halogen intake. As the whole body continues to twitch, let this almost salted eel see reality. Before you go into complete shock, relying on its own strong adaptability, it escaped from the salt pond in a salted fish. He became one of the few stars. Child's birthday, mother's death day. This is the destiny of the pearl octopus that lives 3 kilometers below the sea floor. Surviving in the deep sea is no easy task. The pressure here is more than 300 times that of the sea surface. The water is freezing cold. The harsh environment has kept humanity's understanding of the ocean below that of distant activities. However, even in such a harsh environment, there is still life. The pearl octopus that live here have long been adapted to such an environment. But reproducing in such an extreme environment is no easy task. Due to the low sea temperature, eggs laid by a female octopus, in this case, it takes about 10 years to fully develop. In order to get kids to play poker faster, this pregnant mother octopus found a special delivery room. Here is the largest known octopus in the world, and the octopuses that come here all have a common purpose. That's the cicada boy. The mother octopus who comes here will reproduce with about 20,000 pregnant women today, and the biggest reason why this place is so loved by female pearl octopuses, it is because of the cracks in this sea window. That hydrothermal springs come from deep within the Earth's crust. The water temperature here can reach about 10 degrees. It's like a hot spring. Spawning here helps the octopus eggs develop rapidly. However, even with the help of hydrothermal springs, but to hatch the octopus again, it still takes 2 years in order to ensure the successful hatching of their children. In the meantime, the mothers give up foraging. Take care of your children every step of the way. Spray water to replenish oxygen for children. Use tentacles to clean the dirt off the octopus eggs from time to time. As time goes by, 2 years have passed in a blink of an eye. By this time, the mothers were exhausted. The body's stored energy has long been exhausted, but the good news is their baby has reached the point of breaking the shell. Followed by the eyes of the mother octopus, the first child successfully broke the shell, and his siblings would follow their brother. They began to emerge from their mother's arms one after another, until the last baby swims out smoothly. Mother octopus's mission ends here. With the last bit of effort, delusional children's backs, finally, because of the lack of energy, life is coming to an end. The mother octopus wants her children to survive in harsh conditions. He sacrificed his life, made his own child the largest of the octopus species. The most mature larvae, this will be the biggest bottom line. When the octopus hatchlings face difficulties in the future, the jellyfish born in China, I can't forget my roots anywhere I go. You know, jellyfish don't have hearts. But a moon diver is different. Because they have a patriotic heart, the moon diving mother is also what we often call the sand cover. Born in our country's waters, it is distributed in the Yellow and Bohai Sea regions of our country. It began to appear in Japanese waters around 2,000 years ago and began to reproduce in large numbers. This caused considerable distress to the local fishermen in Japan. Many Japanese fishermen fish in the waters where they daily fish with their nets. It is dominated by a giant jellyfish. When the local fishermen go down, I will kill them. Half the net is diving mothers, and not only that. This little cutie will steal and eat the fish caught by the fishermen. And although the moon diving mother relies entirely on the help of seawater, but remember, jellyfish have poison blisters on their tentacles, and adult diving mothers can grow up to 2 meters in diameter. It can weigh up to 220 kilograms. So be covered by this big guy. Although toxins do not kill, but the pain is unbearable, therefore, local fishermen are also quite careful when handling them, and because of its size, so some fishermen will be dragged into the sea by these little cuties when fishing. According to statistics, during the peak season of that year, the catch was reduced by half compared with previous years. Severe regional losses are even more severe. But it's not just the Japanese fishing industry that the cutie affects. Even the local nuclear power plant has been severely affected. Due to the influx of large numbers of diving mothers into Japanese waters, there are nuclear power plants clogged by diving divers. The degree of fighting sores is no less than that of earthquakes. The local government is also very troubled by this. So the easiest and most brutal way to start is to kill directly. But slowly, the local fishermen discovered that this little cutie was killing more and more than not killing money. Later studies found that small things expel eggs and sperm from the body immediately before death. fertilize it in water. It just so happened that the way to deal with it was to kill and throw the body into the ocean. These eggs and sperm will also return to the sea at the same time. This also creates a good environment for the growth of children, and the jellyfish were growing fast before the month, although only 2 or 3 centimeters at birth. But it can grow more than 1 meter in half a year. So the Japanese must not kill as fast as the little cutie. But the children are not sensible. Run to a place with the killer. Some people wonder why this little important reasons for this phenomenon in Japan, where people have a good life. They all know that it is related to marine pollution. Climate change is inseparable. When fish fall in love with berries, when berries have a crush on fish, that proves it's a transsexual relationship. But it's not so much love, rather it's a deal. This fruit-eating fish, it's called thin food. This is the Bonito River in Brazil. Whenever the fruits on both sides of the strait begin to exude a history of fragrance, living in the rare stones here, but he wasn't the only one attracted, has long disappeared in front of Brother Monkey's eyes. Eat half, lose half, fall into the water, expressed that he was very uncomfortable with Brother Monkey eating on it. The fish are picked up below, however. Their main purpose in coming here is not just to enjoy the leftovers under the monkey's mouth. Kissing and picking fruit is their main purpose. Benefit from crystal clear water? Let these dilute to the inner door. Even below the water's surface, you can see the conefish is now on the table a date down. It seems that it is the berries that have been eaten that suffer. In fact, it is a mutual love. These plants live on both banks in order to disperse their seeds, deliberately grow its own fruit into the taste that fish like to eat. And these Western-style carp are migratory fish. When the Western-style carp is full and drunk, will travel far upstream to lay eggs, and the seeds that are eaten will just catch the express train like the Western 10 miles, go upstream and settle down. Very well avoids journey. It's a delicious berry feast. A strange column is slowly sinking in the middle of the sea. Some are dying, however, an incredible disappearance caused. What's so tragic is the fish themselves, key to their survival. Although these fish may seem ordinary in the ocean, but once out to sea he will spread his wings and soar in the sky. So for these particular little fish, they're known as flying fish. As a member at the bottom of the food chain, their daily life is nothing but survival and escape. In order to avoid the many hunters underwater, they've evolved a very long weapon. When in danger, it will leap out of long ago when it collided with a passing ship, to which a small blue shark miles away had not eaten for nearly 2 months. Sad tears mixed with seawater. The grease wafting from afar couldn't tell him. How far is the food from you? He sails in the direction of the grease, but speed up. As expected, not far away, the remains of a whale are floating quietly above the sea, waiting for him to come and enjoy, and it is worth celebrating. He's not too late. Most of the food is still there, but just as the little blue shark bared its teeth and was about to enjoy it, a great white shark climbs. Although it has only been a few days, but the original huge body, it has now become the framework. Now this frame has no fat support. Mineral remains to be disintegrated. As salt and pepper to become the habitat of organisms. This feast is over, and at this time, the little blue shark is already full. Doesn't care where the food wreckage goes, because within 2 months he was no longer at risk of starvation. The rotten family. Daming mola, a real fish who has paid practice on the rotten road. People often talk about lying flat, but if you really understand the life of this fish, I believe that 90% of people can't get out without this fish. First of all, the first step to lying down is to first lose your mobility. Now, adult mollusks tend to be about 3 to 4 meters long, but that's the only fierce move that can push it to swim. It's like a skirt lace on the back is his tail flag. So on the road to lying down, he basically evolved his own mobility, usually only the 2 long back flags and hip flags that grow on his body, barely maintain his dignity. When encountering some wind and waves, lie down directly. The daily course of action is to go with the flow. Where did the wave hit him? He sleeps there. And when he's in a good mood, he swims. But the 2 little wings are about to fan out the sparks. 100 meters in 3 minutes. It's not sure if there are any assists from ocean currents. In addition to reducing one's own mobility, I want to live a lie-down life completely. The most important thing is that you need to be thick-skinned enough, and that's what our molas do very well. 15 cm thick dough is full of fat. One bite is full of oil. With the help of its own large body grid, no marine creature with a bit of taste would choose to make it their go-to drink. And as a result, there's very little predation for mollusks in the ocean. But even if there is, they are not afraid at all. It's not about how powerful they are. It's that they didn't bother to run at all. In their eyes, life and death are long overlooked. Because the fish knew there was no point in attacking him. Because he really can't fight back. The only thing that happens, if you mess with him, is that you don't end up with anything. It just doesn't taste good. Xiao Yu said he was really sorry. In order to be less miserable when the enemy eats, they've even evolved to feel pain. So what if you get bitten in their eyes? As long as it doesn't hurt the key, he can still choose to smash it lightly. Squid swim too slow. Lots of parasites on the surface of the skin. So many times, even if the fishermen catch it, they will dislike it and throw it back into the sea again. But it doesn't feel lost either, but simply lie on the sea and bask in the little sun. It's just that sometimes I'm too lazy to turn myself over. You'll die in the sun. The biggest prerequisite for lying flat is to breathe first. In order not to starve to death while going with the flow, these mollusks usually choose to float with their mouths open, living mainly on plankton, jellyfish, and small fish pups. They can't miss any chance to win the lottery. Some people will wonder why the waves haven't gone extinct yet. As one of the most prolific vertebrates known in the world, IQ is not enough. Then you must take the child to make a birth 300 million. The little fish said that this is called strength. However, the study found that, of 300 million children, only about 30 survive the breeding season. So if you do the math, so what you're seeing here is pretty elite. But with his strong baby-making ability, as long as you work hard, the ocean probably can't hold him and his family if he doesn't mess up. The bedroom of the Dragon King of the East China Sea can be turned into a fishing catch for the sunfish. So this is also God's creation. The world should have watched him lie down.